Hi there, everyone. Chris here at Blue Rhino Safaris. I experienced an incredible 5 week span of wild dog encounters in the last two trips. That's why 5 weeks. It was two separate trips, and I had two encounters with wild dogs on on each of those trips. And I thought I want to make a video and just go through it. Wild dog is something that we grew up with as maybe wild dogs not such a great idea, and then it became they're almost extinct, and the love of the wild dog came back. And today, wild dogs are one of the most impressive sightings that we can have if we go into the parks. Everybody's looking for a leopard, lions, and wild dogs, and if we see wild dogs, we freak out, and it's all great. So I thought, let me tell you the story that I experienced on this last trip. And to lead into it, just something quickly on wild dog. When we talk about wild dogs, we generally think that it's a dog and it's wild, so it's a wild dog. But it's an incorrect statement to say that. I've got on the screen the scientific descriptions for the animals. And the wild dog is as much a dog as a wolf is a dog, for example. It's not really a dog. One thing, it doesn't have the false claw that a normal dog would have, and it is made for a carnivore diet, predominantly meat that this animal is supposed to be eating. So the teeth is also adapted to that. So they're not really dogs. They are as much a dog as a wolf or a jackal or something else would be. So just to show you as an example quickly, these are the scientific classifications of these different animals: the domestic dog, the wolf, the dingo, and the wild dog. They're all Animalia, that's the kingdom, so animals. The phylum is Chordata, which means they have a backbone. The class is Mammalia, so it's a mammal. The order Carnivora, they're carnivores. The family Canidae, and that's where it basically stops. From there you can see the wolves are Canis for the dingo in Australia. But then in the wild dog, the genus is a Lycaon pictus. Pictus is the word for picture, and that's why they are also talking about renaming the African wild dog to the painted dog. So pictus refers to a picture dog, and therefore the wild dog, the name could change or might not change, who knows. But the idea is to bring back a fondness of the dog and not have people think of a wild dog as a dog that is wild, because that's not what it is. It's a completely different species. But that out of the way, let's have a look at the incident that I experienced with them on the last trip. So the first story that I have of the two wild dog stories for the last few weeks was when we were in the Moremi at Third Bridge. We just arrived in the afternoon. It was late. We came down from Savuti side, and we had to go around because Third Bridge was broken. So we took the long way around, and we arrived just before dark in the camp. We went down to campsite number 5, which is straight in front of reception. So through reception into our campsite, and we stopped, got out of the vehicle, and there's always baboons in the area. So I warned everybody that there's baboons and monkeys, look out for them stealing your stuff. And on my left-hand side, the one vehicle was parked, and the lady was around the back of the vehicle. And as she walked around, I heard her scream, and when I looked, I saw this Impala Ram running straight past their vehicle, like a meter from the vehicle. And she was getting out of the way because this Impala was heading straight to her and going like through her. So she jumped out of the way to the left, and the Impala went through between her and the vehicle in the campsite. And then I heard her husband shout, and I thought, this is a baboon stealing something from the vehicle, a packet of crisps or something. And as he shouted, I saw the movement from behind the vehicle where the Impala just came through. A second animal came through, and it was a wild dog. The wild dog was busy hunting the Impala in the campsite. They came past her, past me. I looked to my left. It must have been about 3 meters from me. That wild dog was running at full pace following this Impala. We looked around towards reception, And we noticed that the other wild dogs in the pack were also busy running now in the same direction as this impala. And uh, they were just unfazed by humans. But as people started coming out from the office and everywhere to look, you could see that they were startled a little bit. And eventually they broke off the attack and they disappeared. So in reception, everybody's frantically jumping up and down to try and attract the attention of everybody outside of the camp at the waterhole, waiting for the wild dogs. And the wild dogs is in the camp, busy chasing impala around in the campsite. Very strange experience. Totally unexpected. And then we learned that it was a pack of, I think, 9 adults and 5 youngsters, something like that. And this is the group that you see in this video. The next day when we went out for a drive, we found them on the road and we had the time to spend some time with them. So, incredible experience 5 weeks ago on my first experience. And then another one followed, and this is the second experience. So we were going up to the Moremi, and as always, I camped at one of the community campsites outside of the Moremi. And it's always nice to camp there. There's no fences, there's nothing there. It's just wild and interesting. And this is the map of our actual campsite. So the Star Village is up here at the top. The campsites are down here at the bottom. And we were camping there for 3 nights, as I would always do on my Botswana trip. And things are good. On the 3rd night of this stay that we had there, at 1:45 in the morning, I woke up with the distinctive noises of wild dogs. Now, wild dogs, when they are hunting, they have a very high-pitched chirping sound. They almost squeak like a dog crying, but it's a lot of them, and it's quick sounds. And I could immediately recognize the sounds of the wild dog. I also heard an impala snorting and running and trying to get out of the system, but I realized that this kill was close, and the kill was really, in my guess, about 500 meters away. So I had an idea it was in the direction down the road, which wild dogs often do. They hunt on the roads or next to rivers or something like that. And it was about 500 meters away. This was 1:45 in the morning. So I was quite excited, but obviously it's dark outside. I'm not going to have a look. Everybody's asleep. 5 in the morning, I wake up and I remember, I heard the wild dogs, and they were really close. The previous day, we saw tracks on the road, so the wild dogs was in the area a little bit further, but they could be close. They travel long distance at night. So I decided that if I close my tent and I drive there, I might wake everybody up. If I wake everybody up and I take them there and there's nothing, then I'm not going to be very popular. If I just leave in the quiet and drive there, then everybody's going to think I've abandoned them. So I can't do that. So what would I do? Let me take my flashlight, just in case I need a light, which I didn't because it was light, but it's fairly heavy. And I thought, wow, maybe a bit of protection is not a bad idea. But let me walk down the road. And when I walk down the road, I can maybe just have a look down the road if I can see them. So I took the turn on the main road down to the left to the second tree that you can see right there next to my purple line. Now from this point, I thought I should be able to see the wild dogs where I heard them last night, and that was about there. And I dared into the break of day and tried to see if I can see anything, but I didn't want to go too far because I'm going to now walk away from safety and walk down there. Now, there's lions walking around, it's an unfenced campsite, and I want to stay fairly close to the security of the campsite. But couldn't see anything, and I was standing around there. There was no vehicles in the morning yet. It was very quiet, and the next moment I turned around to start walking back. And as I turn around and I look up the road, I can see a wild dog now behind me. And these wild dogs turned out that they were sleeping right here in this corner over there. Now, when I came down on the purple road, I was blocked by some trees and they couldn't see me go down. But once I turned onto the road, they could see me walk there. And as I started coming back, I saw the first wild dog. And if you've ever heard a wild dog bark or you've never heard a wild dog bark, I can tell you they bark. Now, their bark is between a normal dog and a baboon. So it's not quite a woof woof. It's not a baboon call. It's not that. It's in between the two. The dog was standing straight in front of me, and I realized that this thing is as big as a Rottweiler. I have 3 Rottweilers. I know how heavy and how strong they are. And I realized this thing is as big as a Rottweiler. It is looking straight at me, 70 meters down the road, ears up, bouncing on its front feet, barking at me. Now, I do know that what comes next. Next is that you'll have a second wild dog, because they're reacting to the call from the first one to say there's something here, you need to come and have a look. And lo and behold, the second wild dog appears behind it. And I realize that I have trouble here. If I go in the wrong direction, there's no safety and they will hunt me down. I have to walk towards them and frighten them into, or just scare them into a little bit of a uncertain position. And that's the same for most animals. As long as you can keep them uncertain of what you're doing, then they will keep their station. So I decided my best defense is going to be to start walking back, straight towards the dogs. And as I arrived to about this point, maybe about 40 meters from the wild dogs, from the bush around here arrived the rest. And I counted 5 in total, all facing me, barking at me, jumping up and down, very excited that there's something, but not sure what it is. At this point, I realized that I'm in trouble if I don't get to the campsite as safely as I can. I proceeded to walk back to the campsite, and when I got to around here, I felt safe enough. I had a look back, and they were still on the road, unsure about what to do, and slowly they then disappeared into the bush over here. I got to the campsite, and some people were up already. They heard the barking. They weren't sure what it was, and I tried to show them the dogs, but the dogs have gone already. And what an amazing experience to me. Scary, really scary. And when I was out here, I realized that maybe it wasn't the greatest idea to go on foot and look for the wild dogs that just made a kill. But yes, also remembered that from 1 o'clock when I heard them at the kill, they might have moved away. And that's exactly what they did. So an amazing experience. I heard wild dog bark for the first time. And unfortunately, my knowledge of them scared me, because I realized they are pack dogs. And once they decide it's me today, that would be the end of it. But I also realized that they are very careful as to confront anything that can hurt them. And they don't know me as a prey, so they would rather just stay away and stay safe. And that's what they did. So it was an amazing experience. And there's always these experiences on these trips. So if you're interested in stuff that happens in the bush and going out and experiencing this, there's always on a trip, there's something new and something different that happens to us. Join me on a trip. Let me know what you want to see, where you want to go, or join one of my standard trips and we can go out there and just enjoy what is available. Otherwise, I trust you have a great day and stay safe, avoid the virus, and we'll see each other soon. Cheers.